Hey there, guys, and welcome to another Factorio Friday Facts discussion number 347, New Hope demo levels, and I am joined, as always, by Bombug.
Hello, hello. How you doing today, X?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good aside from picking up Path of Exile addiction again,
Oh boy,
doing pretty
yeah,
good.
yeah, we've been doing some Path of Exile, been streaming it and stuff. It's been a lot of fun, but the addiction can kind of creep over you again.
Yeah, and I was never too good at resisting it before either, so, you ooh.
Yikes. Well, maybe this will take your mind off it for a little bit at least.
Oh, yeah, sweet. Straight from crack into meth, right? Let's do
That's
more addictions.
Yeah, it's even more addictions. Uh, Even though I think Factorio is usually associated with crack or meth. Probably
Oh, yeah.
both, but
Yeah. Ooh, I'll have to sample them and I'll let you know
let you
later.
mean no. Okay.
Yeah.
So, New Hope demo levels by Clun. This is it looks long, but it's a ton of pictures, which is fantastic. We love pictures.
Yay.
A few weeks ago, we discussed the changes to the demo and tutorial in the game, Friday Facts 342, just about 5 weeks. That's actually a while ago. One piece of
Mhm.
feedback we received after publishing the news was about the old New Hope campaign levels and specifically the abandoned rail-based broken rail map. It seems a lot of you in the community really enjoyed the New Hope campaign levels, and several of the team here share the same feelings. After we scrapped the plans for a new campaign and revert to the old demo, we had initially dismissed the idea to revive the New Hope campaign. However, due to popular demand, we have decided to bring back the favorites, the first two levels of the New Hope campaign. This time, though, they'll also be included in the demo version of the game. This is pretty big because this represents a very significant increase in scope for the demo, increasing the demo content to include research, red science, green science, trains, and much more. And then these levels should be ready for release within a week, but no promises. So that's pretty huge. That's like a lot of additional content to be putting in the demo.
Absolutely. Wow. That's a big step up. As you know, there's not many games that have demos out there to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to be adding more content to the game is pretty interesting. Um, have you ever perused like game development marketing topics at all? Looked into that stuff much?
Um, I don't think too deeply, no.
So one of the pretty like long-held understandings is that demos are bad for your business because if a person doesn't like the game, they're gonna have to buy it to find out. If there's no demo, then they're gonna be spending the money to get to find out, or maybe they'll just not risk it at all. But generally, if a gamer wants game, get it on a Steam sale, they'll buy it, they'll try it out, they find out they don't really like it. That's that. But if you've got a demo, the person's gonna find out, hey, I don't really like this game, or they're gonna maybe like that style of game, but just find out the game isn't very good. It's not right for them, or it's buggy or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other option, which is the game is good, it's fun, but it has kind of one thing that it does really well, and you're going to show that in the demo, and the players are going to get enough satisfaction just from the demo that they don't really want to continue past that point.
Mm-hmm.
So demos are like a lose-lose situation for the business. For the customer, though, it's excellent, right? Who could want anything more than getting to play the game before you have to buy it, before you have to make that big investment? That's awesome. So I feel like the Factorio team's always been on the customer side for that stuff. And even though it may be bad for them as a business, which I think it is personally, demos are just not going to get you sales as much as not having a demo. But with that, they're still going in for it, which is great for the customer.
Mm-hmm. Um, a couple things with that. I feel like you're definitely correct. However, I would question like if without demos, like most games are without demos, if the player has to buy the game to find out if they like it or not, and they end up not liking it, doesn't that just result in a lot of refunds, which is not good either for the business.
Most people don't really do refunds though. Refunds are pretty rare. I think for the most part on Steam, refunds almost don't happen unless there's like some outrage over, some political movement that some developer said or something.
Okay.
Like,
hmm?
yeah, that's just my thoughts on that usually.
Okay, fair enough. I do think probably in a general scheme of things, you're correct that even for Factorio it hurts your business. There are some cases where it helps. I have seen specific instances where someone will post on the Reddit or post on the forums or something and be like, I was told this game was good, or I stumbled across it and I wasn't really sure. It didn't really look like my type of game, so I wasn't really going to get it. And then I noticed there was a demo, and after playing the demo, I was completely hooked and decided to buy it.
Yeah.
So once in a while, I feel like it has a reverse effect, where at first glance, someone's like, nah, this isn't for me. And then they have a demo to try and they're like, oh, wow, this is actually insanely addicting and fun, so I'm going to go ahead and buy it.
Yeah, I think there's something like 8 different scenarios that can happen in a demo. 2 of them are positive, 6 of them are negative as far as the company's concerned. So, it will occasionally hit those 2 good positive outcomes.
Fair enough. But I do like the fact that devs are usually on the player's consumer side for things. And kind of as we look further into that, so level 4, Science and Automation. This mission is a continuation of Demo Mission 3, where you would build radars to scan the surrounding areas. You start with a small factory already operational. The radar detects a distress beacon, and you must build a car to get there in time before the signal dissipates. This level introduces the labs and science packs, as well as providing the first taste of real automation. As we can see here, some stuff is destroyed. There's a little bit of automation going on here. And then at the end of the level, you pack your supplies in the car and drive off to locate the stress beacon before it fades out for good. Then we move on to level 5, Abandoned Rail Base. This level starts with you pulling up to the base. However, you arrive too late and the base is already destroyed. Your goal is to reestablish the science production and rebuild the rail network, which is really cool, especially like now that we have remnants and stuff. It kind of gives you a little better idea of what you might need to do. I'm sure in game it actually tells you like steps you may need to take, but the fact that you can see like where the belt kind of used to be and where the rail kind of used to be, I think is really cool, because that makes it like not as confusing if it just there were no remnants whatsoever and you're just like, I don't know what this was supposed to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, the remnants and kind of giving a hint to players, especially since this is for like new players, right? Giving a hint to players of what possibilities are out there is excellent, because a lot of the time a player just wouldn't think, oh, that's how you use a splitter, or oh, you can insert coal into a train by, they have a picture of the belts of coal going to the train a little bit lower. It's nice, right? Yeah, giving those little tips helps a lot. It's pretty cool.
For sure.
Also, long arm inserters. Man, my brain didn't know what to do with those for a long time. I don't know why.
Yeah, it does take a bit of getting used to. I was the same way, for sure. But once you realize
Beyond
it...
my reach, man.
Okay. There you go, guys.
Actually, though, looking at this, seeing this rail base far off from the main base kind of destroyed, it reminds me of like the end of your last campaign when people were just like nuking your outposts. Didn't that happen a couple times? Oh man.
Yep. Basically, yep. Very, very reminiscent of that. So after rebuilding the railway in the mining outpost, you must produce a large number of materials to finish the level. At the end of the level, there is a notice that this is the end, and we would recommend playing free play next, which then, of course, requires a full game. So, what's new? The main work over the last few weeks has been bringing the ancient maps up to date with modern Factorio. For instance, now that we have more specific remnants, the ruin bases really look much nicer, kind of like we just discussed. Looks really good.
Yeah, that's a huge
Yeah, sorry. Huge improvement. They also have made a big effort to update the tile and map generation to make the use of the new terrains, cliffs, and decoratives most effectively. So replacing terrain in a map by V. And this is actually kind of interesting. You want me to go over this, or do you want to cover this?
Let me give it a shot. It is a pretty cool idea to rebuild the map this way. So replacing terrain in a map, the original abandoned rail base level was nice, but it aged but it aged with all the changes to terrain generation that happened since. So we've got the full resolution here of the original rail base, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is to recreate the gameplay of the original level, but replace the terrain with a modern one, including decoratives and cliffs. The most game-defining elements are entities and water on the map. Cliffs would be as well, but those didn't exist when this level was introduced, which is pretty interesting. I didn't know. I guess I never really experienced or thought about Factorio without cliffs. They've kind of always been there for me because I joined in late.
Yeah, they actually are not. They haven't been around all that long in the grand scheme of things.
Right. Yeah. So tiles and decoratives, they're just going to replace, and the trees, they're going to just get close enough to what the original map was.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, a lot of things like the pollution absorption numbers have changed since the level was introduced, so it wouldn't be absolutely the same as the original map regardless. So here's kind of their breakdown of the main elements of the map there.
Mm-hmm.
The first step that he took was finding a random map seed that he wanted to use for the level. He did this by generating a random map in freeplay and then running the take screenshot command with two requirements. One being the name of the output image is the seed of the map so that he can reduce the image just by reading the image name. And then the other requirement being the resolution to 1 pixel equals 1 tile, so he could easily align it in Photoshop and read the coordinates. Even though Photoshop uses a different coordinate system, at least it's staying to the same units. That helps. So there's the original
Original.
map. Yeah, you could see it in the middle there compared
Mm-hmm.
to the new one that he kind of generated over it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so he takes the same resolution screenshots from the original mission with and without tiles, and then put the random seed images on. Having the visual preview with being able to move the image allowed him to find the desired seed and offset quite quickly and position it really precisely. Now, of course, you can't just paste the entities from the original level to this random surface, as there are some conflicting areas, like the huge lake in the middle of the map. So here's this is the big screenshot here of the map that he ended up generating without the overlay of the original map.
Right.
So he wanted to remove unwanted lakes and resource patches. This was done by generating multiple maps with the same seed, but one without water in the starting area only, and resources, and transferring areas between them. So he's just making a Frankenstein map.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next
Basically.
he adds, yeah, he adds the water from the original, and he's doing an interesting trick here, which is let's see, this step is quite special. In the original mission, I replaced water by concrete and created a blueprint from it. There's better ways that he could have done this, but for some reason he didn't want to deal with the offsets of this piece of script, and he'd already used this method in some other places earlier, so the solution came to mind first. And definitely having something that you've done before, just being able to copy paste the Lua commands or whatever, pretty convenient.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he has a blueprint of the concrete in the shape of the water, and then another script replaces the concrete with real water. The bigger issue in the end is that the original level had water all the way to the edge of the map. You can see, for example, the sharp edge on the right of the water there. And the
Mm-hmm.
water generation changed as well, so manual edits were in order. And the next screenshot there is the water after fine tuning the edges so they're not so rough. Or I guess so they're rougher instead of so they're not sharp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when he had the water in place, then it was finally time to clone the original entities. So he used the clone area tool, which also removes entities in the destination surface. He's been able to go through this whole process in a single working day, thanks to all the map editor features that our seeding added and Lua commands that they'd created when working on the now canceled campaign. Tools, experience, and knowledge are hard to cancel. That's a good point.
Oh
Going
yeah.
to be
Yeah.
bringing that knowledge with you. no matter if your project's canceled or not.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
With that in mind, I kind of remember, didn't some people end up leaving after the campaign was canceled?
I know at least one person did. I think the person who worked on
Yeah.
it the most. Yeah.
Uh, See, that's rough. That does mean that the knowledge is leaving and, part of the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it
But they
was.
still got some experience learned from that whole ordeal, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure some of it was passed on to other team members.
Yeah. So the final GIF in the section shows that he's drawing the rest of the owl. He fixed places where the automated cloning wasn't good enough. He added more runes to be explored, tweaked the gameplay, and he has the finished scenario with a nice little time lapse of where it started from and where it ended up.
Yeah, this is really cool how they, fixed it up to be with the modern Factorio gameplay and looks and stuff, and went through the effort to do this. It's really, really impressive.
That is impressive. I was thinking when he was generating screenshots of new seeds, um, the map is endless, right? So he could have technically generated one seed and then just scrolled all the way around the map. Is that what he did? Or did he generate a whole bunch?
Um, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Let's see. It, it says the first step he took was finding a random map seed that he wanted to use for. I'm not sure if that means he took more than one, but
Um,
yeah, gotta keep that infinite map size there with the seed.
very true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any extra thoughts on this one?
I don't think so. This is really cool. I'm really glad that they're updating the campaign, bringing back those levels people wanted so much. I think this is great.
Yeah, and it's pretty fun to, even with the minor tweaks to get it to look right in the new set of tiles and everything, he's still really stuck with making it match the original as
Mm-hmm.
much as was reasonable so that players get that nostalgia feel, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's real important.
Yeah. So what about the next
Um,
section here? What do we got?
so we got a fun little thing here, real short, simple-ish thing. So bots throw cliff explosives now. So basically, recently they've made some improvements to the cliff explosive effects. However, one thing we missed was that the bots needed to be updated separately due to them using different logic to create the explosion. While it was an easy fix, copy-paste some Lua definitions, it feels like it is treating the symptoms rather than treating the cause. It isn't good to have the same thing defined in two separate places. So, never want to pass up a nice opportunity to have some fun. Our seeding changed the way the blow-up cliff job works, so it will always use the correct effect. As we can see here, this is basically just the way the player would throw the cliff explosive, but of course with a bot doing it, it cracks me up that a bot can just like chuck this cliff explosive.
Yeet.
Yeet it. I don't know that they have arms or anything. So maybe they just have like a little like air tube. That's like they
Yeah.
load it in there, kind of like an airsoft thing, and just launch it out of there.
Oh man.
Torpedo tube or something for explosives.
Go and like yeet it into the assembler,
Oh yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta get this logic all throughout. This is
Yeah,
great.
this is fantastic. Yeah, so now instead of the bot hovering over the cliff, it will throw the same explosive projectile as the player would. Not only this fixed the issue for good, but it looks a lot cooler. Yeah, it did look a little weird with the bot just kind of like flying over the cliff and the cliff just like disappearing. So this is really cool.
Yeah.
Real funny to me, but does look better and just more in line with stuff. More polish as they've been doing here. All really, really great stuff.
Yeah. Excellent. Loving the polish.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any other thoughts before we end here?
Let's see. I do have one thought of whoever built the original campaign stuff like the abandoned rail base. They didn't put any turrets around their defenses. They just put walls. It's a classic mistake, man. You got to do better than your predecessors, all right, guys?
Yeah, come on, throw in some turrets in there. Maybe they're just leaving it that way so players just like die upon arrival. That is a good point, though. Walls don't do you much good without the turrets.
Yep. Gotta arm yourself.
Yeah, arm yourself. Anyway, that's gonna do it, guys. I hope you we hope you enjoyed. Leave your thoughts below. As always, really enjoy reading them, and of course on the forums and Reddit for the devs. But until next time, we will see you later.
Catch you later.